Hello. Welcome everyone to Roma Theory. Hope you're all enjoying your Friday, if it's evening or if it's morning. I hope you're enjoying it either way. We've got a massive game tomorrow. I am heading to the stadium, so hopefully a stadium vlog will come. But yeah, you know what? I wanted to go live today to speak about this talent which we're interested in. Brazilian talent. His name is Marcos Leonardo, not Marcos Antonio, because that's the Lazio guy who's never played, and the one time he played, he scored. But yeah, he's a striker. He's a striker who plays for Santos in Brazil. And yeah, we're gonna speak about his stats, speak about our interest in him, and also speak about just speak about this move and how it affects the other moves potentially, how it affects Tammy Abraham's move, maybe, who knows, and how I also want to mention how I think we should handle the striker position in this summer's transfer window. Now, the striker position is one of those positions, in my opinion, which really, I'm not saying fully depends, but really depends on the Champions League qualification. Because you see, strikers nowadays are very expensive. So to get a good striker, you either spend a lot of money, something which we can't do, especially if we don't get Champions League, or you either gamble on someone, and this is an example of this. This player is an example of a potential scenario like that. There are a lot of teams which have gambled with players and have benefited from them. You look at Napoli with Kvaratskhelia. You look at Inter with a few years ago with Lautaro Martinez. He was a gamble. They bought him from an Argentinian team, and now he's one of the best strikers in the league. Teams gamble because they know that the strike position is a delicate position, because not everyone is Real Madrid or Man City and they can spend money on players like Holland. So the striker position, even more than any other position, is that position which we can't say anything right now. And I think even the ownership can't say anything about, because it's one of those positions which I think a lot of it depends on our Champions League hopes. And yeah, let's speak about him. Apparently, our interest on him has been confirmed. Now, it has been confirmed by Falcao, the old Roma player, Roma legend, incredible player, who won the league title with Roma. He's Brazilian, and he works with Santos, I believe. I'm not sure if he's actually someone who works with the club or like close to the manager, but what we know is that well, first of all, he's a Santos fan, and second of all, he works with the board, because he himself, who was a Roma player a long time ago, has confirmed that we are interested in him and that Roma is thinking about the offer to formulate Santos. This means that we've worked on it. This means that we are interested in him, especially if a big source like him has confirmed it. Does this mean that we'll buy him this summer? I don't know. As I just said, it depends on what we get. If we get Champions League, if we don't get Champions League. I will be honest with you. I want this to happen, but I want this to happen as a second striker option. Because I am all into gambling young players. And, if you remember a few months ago, we also discussed how Roma's scouting department is very, very weak. So, if we gamble on a player and then he becomes a massive player, you get two benefits from him. The first benefit you get is that you get him as a player in your team. And the second benefit you get, if you're a team like Roma, which cannot handle around with money, is that you massively value him. Just like Napoli did with Kvaratskhelia. They bought him for 14 million. Nobody knew who he was. Scored and won the league yesterday with Napoli. And now anybody who wants him has to pay a minimum of 80 million euros. That's the process which would be a massive benefit, financial benefit for us. And having a player who is a gamble nobody knows about and then kind of transforms your season and becomes one of the best players in your team is one of the best things a fan could see. I am all into this happen, but as I just said, I would rather not have him as my first striker. I would rather get him. He's young. He's 2003. He's very, very young. I would rather get him, And I would rather keep him as a second striker in the first season and then turn him and evolve him into a first striker. Same exact thing Inter did with Lautaro Martinez. Bought him from Argentina. The first few years at Inter, it was him as a second striker. And then with the passing of years, he's evolved into the first striker of the team. This is what I want to see if this deal comes to an end. If we get this player, this is what I want to see. An evolution of him starting as a second striker and moving his way as a first striker. And yeah, I mean, you look at his stats. He plays in the Brazilian league. He's 2003. He's 20 years old. He's a striker. His current value is 15 million euros. It's fair to say that his value in these past months has drastically increased, which definitely suggests to you that that his performances have been great. Just to give you an example, in August 2022, Transfer Market valued him around 7, 8, 9 million, and now he's worth 15 million. That's not a big difference, but for a player who's 20 years old, plays in the Brazilian league, which is one of the best leagues when it comes to growing talents. We've seen a lot of players come from the Brazilian league. Not all of them will be like Neymar and Vinicius. No, he will not become a new Vinicius or Neymar player, because if you had the capabilities of becoming such a player, then you would see bigger clubs being interested in him and bigger clubs with better scouting departments interested in him. There is competition on him, but it's not competition coming from clubs like Real Madrid or clubs like Barcelona, who really kind of share a lot of their money in buying these talents. Competition is, in fact, it's actually coming from Napoli. Napoli are interested in him, and Porto from Portugal are interested in him. Two teams which have great scouting departments, which suggests to me that if Napoli's scouting department and Porto's scouting department are both interested in this guy, it's good that we're interested in him, because they normally don't miss out on those young talents that nobody knows about. So yeah, we have to anticipate them. The competition is going to be high. Obviously, Napoli just won the league. So if Napoli present a bigger offer than us, he is 100% going to choose Napoli over us in terms of enthusiasm, in terms of working with players which just won the league, an ownership which just won the league, a project which just won the league. And as Napoli's president said yesterday, the second after they won the league, Napoli is just starting. The fact that the fact that Napoli won the league is not an arrival point; it's a starting point. So we have to anticipate everybody. But that's just like that's like with any young talent. If you're truly interested in someone and he's a good player, he's gonna grab a lot of attention. But if you really want it, you have to anticipate everyone. That's kind of how it works. Yeah, I think let's look at his stats. So the Brazilian league just started, by the way. They basically, it's vice versa. They start in the summer and end in the winter, and we start in the wait, what? The Brazilian league, obviously, because it's winter in Brazil right now. It's autumn in Brazil right now. It's obviously vice versa. So the Brazilian league just started. And in the first 3 games of the Brazilian league, he has 1 goal in three games, and then he also has 3 goals in 4 games in a Copa do Brasil 2023, and he also has 4 goals and 2 assists, so 6 contributions in 11 games. I believe in the academy, because it's something called the Paulistão A1 Primera Fase 2023. He's got incredible stats for a 20 years old who is. I've read he's kind of like the biggest player in the Santos team. Santos are living a good moment financially also. I also think another reason, which a lot of you guys may go like bullshit, but I think it can be put into the reasons why Santos is failing as a club. Definitely because of financial issues. But I also feel like in a country like Brazil, where football is a religion, there are three countries around the world where football is a religion: Italy, Argentina, and Brazil. And for a country like Brazil, for a team like Santos, which grew Pele, obviously Pele passing away a few months ago has created a sad environment around the team. And you probably go, well, what does that have to do with the team? It does have to do with the team, because in a country like Brazil, so passionate, Santos fans are not living a great moment. They're their king, the player who basically grew up in their team, the biggest player the world has ever seen and will probably ever see potentially, passing away, the king of the country a few months ago, does not create a good vibe around the environment of Santos. So that's definitely one of the reasons of why Santos is living a bad moment. Yeah, I think, as I said before, another reason why I would get him is because South American players in the Italian league work out really well. And you see, that's a statement. South American players who come to the Serie A work out really well. You look at Falcao himself, he used to play for Roma, won the league. You look at Maicon. Obviously, you look at Ronaldo or Nine. I mean, he's another category. You look at Maicon, the defender. In these future years, you look at Lautaro Martinez. He's doing well at Inter Milan. You look at Cafu, you look at Aldair. I know all of these are different category players, but I feel like South American players have kind of adapt themselves well in Italian football. Much of it is due to the fact that in both countries, football is felt. Football is almost a religion. So yeah, I think that's another reason why I think South American players in the Italian league fit out really well. You look at Higuain, who scored 36 goals in one season, in one league season for Napoli. He's Argentinian. You look at Dybala himself. It's something which works well. So yeah, that's the way I see it. I think we should have a few gambles. Why I don't want him as my first striker, especially in my first season, because obviously he lacks experience, and we cannot, for a team which next season, regarding of whether we will win something this season or won't win this season, next season we will try and do something, and therefore we cannot lay full responsibilities on a main striker who's 20 years old. He is great as a second striker, and I think he would be great as a second striker, but definitely not as first in the first year. He has to grow, and that's the life of a football player. How this changes is, if we buy him, I definitely think Belotti leaves. Now again, I believe Belotti's contract is 1 year, so we could easily not extend it. I think Belotti has to leave. Look, at the end of the day, he's worked hard. He hasn't bagged the goals, and he's a striker. He came here to bag the goals, but he's worked hard. He's one of those players which doesn't do anything because he doesn't bag the goals, but at the end of the day, he works hard for the team. He sacrifices himself. But we need goals next season. So I think Belotti leaves. The biggest question when we speak about the attack is Tammy Abraham. Does Tammy leave? Does Tammy stay? I think my opinion doesn't change. If the offer comes, I think he will leave. One, because we could fuel up big part of our summer window if we sell Tammy for a big price. And second reason being, maybe he himself wants to leave and wants to go back to the Premier League. I'm not sure about this one. I think Tammy loves Rome, loves the fans, and loves the club. But you see, if you ask me, I would give Tammy another chance, but 80% of this statement depends on who we buy around him. If we buy poor players around him, then I think we have to buy another striker. Because this season showed us that Tammy lacks support. And if Tammy lacks support, then you know, he kind of doesn't score the goals, and we need goals. I don't know. That, in fact, let me know in the chat. I've asked this quite a lot, but I think the opinion changes after each game week. Do we keep Tammy? Do we sell Tammy at the end of the season? Yes or no in the live chat. I miss Dzeko a lot. I miss Dzeko a lot. I miss the kind of player Dzeko was. Sumptuous player which nobody moved. He was so physical, and that's I think what Roma lacks: a physical striker. A striker has to be physical before even bagging the goals. A striker has to be physical. If we have a striker which gets pushed away the second he gets touched, that's not a striker. He will never win duels in that. And I miss Dzeko too. Look, I think the best possible outcome, if we revolutionize the attack, so if we sell both Tammy and Belotti, which to be fair, the chances are high, if we do that, I would pick as an attack a good first striker, which we would get from Tammy's money, added on to some other players we sell money. Maybe if we qualify for Champions League, that money, and you also add the money that we've accumulated in the Europa League this season. If we sell Tammy for a big price, I think we have a solid transfer budget. The first striker has to be a good striker and a young striker. And the second striker has to be someone either young, which we've gambled on, like this guy, or someone older who's got the experience, aka Edin Dzeko, also known as an example of this, Edin Dzeko. So I think the attack is this. The attack is, if we revolutionize the attack, so if we sell both Tammy and Belotti, we need a good first striker. A striker which guarantees you 15 goals, minimum 15 goals. If we want to compete on many fronts, we need a poacher. We need someone who poaches the goal. And we need someone who bags 15 goals minimum each season. Behind that, as a second striker, we have two paths to follow. We either choose a young guy, very young guy, which nobody knows about and we've gambled on, or we follow the other path, which is you buy someone who's older and has experience, maybe doesn't play every game. I mean, he's the second striker, so he wouldn't play every game, but maybe even who has fitness problems. And I know that's we don't want, but with someone like Dzeko, just to give you an example and to cut it short, that's my move, striker move. But yeah, I think gambling isn't bad. Gambling isn't bad, especially for the team we are, a team which can't spend too much money. Because at the end of the day, yes, gambling has a 50-50 chance. We could, everyone will completely forget about him if he flops. But gambling also has that other percentage, that other 50% chance, which is if he does well, it would be so good. You look at the move back, and it would be a magical move. Has anybody got any recommendations for striker then? I think we could sell Tammy for 50-60 million. Realistic signing. I mean, look, if you reckon we sell Tammy for 50-60 million, I think we can get a very good striker. I wouldn't mind someone like Mitrovic. I think we could easily get him for that amount of money. Easily. Because, again, Fulham is a great club, but doesn't have financial power. So they will never turn down a 50-60 million offer. I think 50-60 million is a very exaggerated for Mitrovic, but we need someone like Mitrovic. Someone like Mitrovic. Someone like Boulaye Dia. Someone like, it's not going to happen, but just to give you a similar player, characteristic style player, someone like Alexander Isak from Newcastle. Someone like that. That's my dream striker signing. Yeah, Dia I would absolutely love. Oh, Dia I would love. I would absolutely love Dia. He's so good. He's so underrated. He's got a release clause of 12 million. Or 20 million, something like that. He's on loan from Villarreal. He's a great player, Dia is. But yeah, what about the Sassuolo striker? Which striker? Sassuolo don't. Pinamonti, you mean? No, definitely not. Tammy's juggling and his shitty shot outside of the box made me angry. Santos fans did not like him much, so he can be a problem, I think. I actually heard that Santos fans like him. But I don't know. No offense to the Brazilian league. I don't follow it. I don't think anyone here follows it unless you're Brazilian. It's one of those leagues which nobody never knows you by. And that's kind of that kind of puts even more pressure on the gamble. I think it's wrong to have criticisms or even massive applauds for this guy, because realistically speaking, unless you're Brazilian, you've never seen him play. So it's wrong to say he's bad, but it's also wrong to say he's amazing. Brazil is very far away from Europe, so we don't really watch those kind of teams. But Brazilian striker, the characteristic of a Brazilian striker is good with the ball and good with their feet. That's effectively the characteristic of every Brazilian player. We need Firmino. Fredkins must bring in another huge manager. Moo's doing his typical. A few words on. Sorry, I'm delving a bit over time here, but just to tell you one thing. There are a lot of rumors of today, after that Monza post-match interview, which say Mourinho wants to leave at the end of the season. And again, I've said this many times, I'm not Mourinho. I would wish to know the answer, but I don't know. Just to give you a perspective, in the last 2 weeks, we had the same media profiles say 3 completely different things. 3 weeks ago, they said Mourinho renews his contract at Roma. 2 weeks ago, they said Mourinho is enjoying life at Roma. And today, they say Mourinho leaves Roma. In the space of 3 weeks, the same media profile has basically has thrown us 3 completely different hypotheses. That's how the media works. And look, Jose could leave at the end of the season. And Jose could also stay at the end of the season. I think these tactics of blaming the referee, but also blaming the ownership in these post-match interviews, don't get me wrong, could obviously mean something. It obviously means that he wants a change in something. But can I tell you my perspective on everything? He's doing this to shift the fans' attention. Every single Roma fan that I know wants Mourinho to stay. Therefore, what happens? If Mourinho goes post-match on national TV and says, I am going to stay with these lads until the very last minute of the season, it leaves question marks to all of these Mourinho lovers, including us. And it's strategic. Because if Mourinho says this, and all of his fans and all of these Roma supporters, which absolutely love him, start going, oh my god, what happens if Mourinho leaves at the season? It incitates these fans to be even more passionate in these upcoming games, which are going to mark the future of this club. So, yes, Mourinho could have problems with the ownership. I am not excluding that. Yes, Mourinho has problems with referees. I am not excluding that. But deep down, the main message of all of these criticisms is to make the fan base and the team even more united for this end part of the season. That's the way I see it. But, yeah. Gonzalo Ramos is... that ain't happening. Gonzalo Ramos is... Gonzalo Ramos should be a dream, but it's not happening. It all depends on if we win the Europa or not. Benzema's coming to Rome. Oh my god. Leo, you're Brazilian. Then obviously I believe you. I didn't know you were Brazilian. So yeah, that's great. If we want to play Champions League football, we are seriously talking about Salernitana and Spezia strikers. Well, yeah, I think it's wrong to say that. I think it's wrong to discredit what Boulaye Dia is doing. Boulaye Dia, for a player like, for a player who plays in a team like Salernitana, has 12 goals. That's more than our striker. So who are we to say the guy plays for Salernitana? He's terrible. You know, we especially are the ones who can't say that, because our striker has bagged 3 goals. So yeah, Salernitana and Roma is 2 completely different universes, but it's wrong, especially for us Roma fans, to say that. You know, if we were Napoli fans, then we could easily say that, because Osimhen scored what? How many goals this season? But Roma fans saying Boulaye Dia can't come because he used to play for because he plays for Salernitana, which is a shit club, is wrong. It's morally wrong, because our striker scored 3 goals. So who are we to criticize Dia? That's the way I see it. I get your point. I think there's a massive jump in experience going from, and also pressure for playing for a club like Salernitana to Roma. But you know, that's I don't think we can criticize what he's doing, because he's carrying that team. But yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow. Stadium vlog. We got to try and win tomorrow. It's a crucial game. Match preview went out yesterday. Predicted 11 and all of that went out yesterday. So make sure to go watch that. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you very, very soon. Simon, out.